What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome Nintendo Switch RPG news and a bit more. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And with that out of the way, let's go and jump right into it. And we're starting off with some big new AAA information for the next Nintendo Switch. So the reason why that I'm going with the next Nintendo Switch is because of the timing of this message and what's actually going on. Now, we all know that the next Nintendo Switch, or the Nintendo Switch 2, will probably be out within the next 18 months for Nintendo, based off of what they've talked about to their investors and just the fact that the Nintendo Switch is already in its 6th calendar year. Nintendo is deep in preparing for the next Nintendo Switch system. Now, over on Twitter, there is a brand new addition to Nintendo's team, and she had something very interesting to say about her new role with Nintendo. So on Twitter, Hannah Foel had this to say: "I'm so beyond thrilled to join the third-party team at Nintendo of America to drive developer and publisher relationships. I can't wait to get started working with AAA developers to put exciting new experiences in players' hands." So this is very interesting with this hire, because she was previously at Sony with God of War. So she is coming over with a lot of experience with big games, and now she is over here at Nintendo working on AAA development with other third-party developers, getting those games on Nintendo's systems. And like I said, like the AAA games that are already on the Switch, they already have people doing that. This is absolutely for what is going to be happening next with the Nintendo Switch 2. They're bringing people on with experience. I think at this point, dev kits are starting to be finalized. Nintendo's kind of looking into what they're going to be doing. Now, it's not completely finalized, but I think they have an idea of what they're going to be using and how they're going to formulate this next system. And there's going to be a number of AAA ports that are going to be looked into for the next gen Nintendo Switch. There's a lot of games that I think developers probably wanted to bring to the Nintendo Switch because of the popularity of the system, but it might have costed too much based off just the architecture, trying to get it to work with the power that the Switch does have. But with a Nintendo Switch 2 that is theoretically a lot more powerful and has architecture that's a bit more modern, I think that these ports could come easier to the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo's probably going to gear up to get a number of those ready for the launch of the next system, and they're bringing someone in with a lot of experience like Hannah here. So I think that is what is happening here, and once again, this is absolutely good. I mean, you want to see Nintendo working hard to try to get some of these third-party games that skipped out on the Nintendo Switch, now that they have a good gimmick and a base and a pretty strong union. Now Nintendo doesn't have to worry about having a portable development and having a home console development. Everything is under one roof, so therefore developers can just develop on that one system. So I think that they made a lot of strides with the Nintendo Switch. Switch got a lot of franchises that had never appeared on a Nintendo system before, stuff like the Elder Scrolls, for example, or even games that had taken a long break, like the Doom franchise. So there's a number of stuff, Diablo, like the list goes on and on games or franchises that had never come to Nintendo platforms and showed up on the Nintendo Switch. So that was the first step, but now it's time to take the next step when it comes to getting some of these third-party games that the Switch missed out on, and also getting games day and date with other platforms. So I think it's going to be a lot of work, but I feel that Nintendo and Nvidia are going to come through with what's next with the next Nintendo Switch. So we're going to have to wait and see when that's actually going to happen. I think we'll hear something sometime in 2023. Don't know if it's launching in 2023, but I think we'll hear about it, and then maybe we see a 2024 launch early, just like the Nintendo Switch was announced, or we heard about it more like in 2016. They showed it off, and then it was launched in 2017, where they first announced it back in 2015 as just the NX, but we really got our first look at it in 2016. So I think we could see a similar thing here. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to this new hire at Nintendo and what's going on with this AAA developers and probably the next Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got a big winter sale going down at Square Enix on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and there is a ton of pretty low prices on a large number of Square Enix's category. There's even Balan Wonderworld for $11.99. Crazy, huh? That game was actually cheaper physical when it comes down to it. But I want to go over some of my picks for this big winter Square Enix sale. So Final Fantasy, you guys know I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I love me some Final Fantasy. So there are a number of Final Fantasy games on sale. You can get Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition for $11.99, Final Fantasy IX for $10.49, Final Fantasy VII for $7.99, Final Fantasy X/10-2 HD Remaster for $24.99, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, which I recently talked about in my 25 best action RPGs on the Nintendo Switch, that video, $24.99. And also World of Final Fantasy Maxima for $15.99. All of these games looks like 50% or more on a lot of these. So those are all really good Final Fantasy games. I suggest all of them. If I had to pick one out of the Final Fantasy games there, obviously Final Fantasy VII. You can't really go wrong with Final Fantasy VII. It's a classic and it's pretty good on the Nintendo Switch if you want that classic turn-based RPG with some enhancements and some features to make the game a bit better quality of life-wise. Now, another thing that I want to talk about here is some other games from Square Enix, and that is the Field Chronicle. That game is $29.99, once again 50% off of the normal $60 price tag. And then also Star Ocean First Departure R, which is a fantastic remaster of a remake that was on the PSP. Now it's on the Nintendo Switch. It's really good. It's only $8.39. And then also Trials of Mana, which I also talked about in my best Nintendo Switch action RPGs. That is $24.99. So very good across the board here. All of these sales go to December 29th here in the West Coast and December 30th in the East Coast at 3 a.m. So awesome stuff all around. Great sales when it comes to Square Enix titles. A lot of good games on there if you're looking for your next epic RPG to play. There is a litany of different ones. Heck, I didn't even mention Neo, The World Ends With You, which is $29.99, down from the $60, although you can find that game physical for a pretty good price as well. But if you like digital, check out the Square Enix eShop sale that is going down right now. So what do you guys think about this? Planning on getting anything from Square Enix here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got our first real footage of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden on the Nintendo Switch, or more, I should say, the new footage of the game. We haven't seen too much of it, and now we actually get another trailer here showing off, which is presumably the Nintendo Switch version of the game. After Atlas and Microsoft, they have a Game Pass deal, so all of the marketing is going to be tuned towards Game Pass and Xbox first, and then days later it comes to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. So that's just how it is right now at this point, guys. Probably throughout the duration of this game, but it doesn't matter because Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden are looking fantastic and are going to be great on the Nintendo Switch. These are originally both portable games with the PSP and also the PS Vita. They play great as portable titles considering how long they are and just how the games are built. So I think that this is going to be a phenomenal game to pick up on your Nintendo Switch and enjoy. And if you've never played Persona 3, you've never played Persona 4 or either one of them, you are in for a treat because these games are fantastic. They do so many good things when it comes to the graphics and the gameplay and just the leveling and like the social links. There's so many aspects to a Persona game, and the story is surprisingly dark but also incredibly good. So Persona has been a staple when it comes to incredible turn-based RPGs, and these games are back and better than ever. They even have a bunch of upgraded features to them as well, with quick saving and other little things that they added in for quality of life. So I have to recommend Persona 3 and Persona 4. I want to make sure that I say this again just because people seem to be confused at this point. There is no physical edition of Persona 3 and Persona 4, which is very unfortunate because both of these games launched on systems that were physical based type of systems with the PS Vita and the cartridges and also the UMD PSP. I mean, people had physical games of those, so it's very unfortunate that they didn't follow that up with a actual physical game, considering that Vita cartridge is so cool for Persona 4 Golden. It would be nice to have both of these on a double pack. I would pay $60 plus for that if they were willing to do it, but you can get a bundle. If you buy them together, you get a little bit of a discount, or they're going to be $20 a pop when it comes down to it. So there's that. But at the end of the day, man, it would have been nice for a physical, but it is what it is on that front. I'm just looking forward to playing the games once again. Unfortunately though, for it comes out right before Fire Emblem Engage, and I'm going to be totally in the Fire Emblem Engage mode at that point. So I probably won't be able to play too much of it because I'll be getting ready for Fire Emblem Engage the very next day. But I'm still excited to see how these games look and how they're running and how other people who haven't played it get a chance to finally play these masterpieces on the Nintendo Switch. And I'll definitely get around to playing both of them once again and probably test out, give you guys some footage and all of that. So what are your thoughts on Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden on the Nintendo Switch with this new trailer? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, we got an official confirmation of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. This is Final Fantasy 1 through Final Fantasy 6 touched up on a physical cartridge on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. Official confirmation of these games. We talked about it being rated not too long ago, but now we have the confirmation and the pre-orders are up, and boy did they go fast. As of the time that I'm recording this video, the Switch version already sold out. It was barely up for about an hour or so before they were all gone, but Square Enix did say that there's limited quantities. You can check back, get on the wait list. Hopefully they do replenish it, but there might be PS4 copies left. Of course, check. But the controversial thing that's happening here is the price for the game. So let's go ahead and get into that. So Square Enix will release the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch in spring 2023, the company announced. This is Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, both available individually or together as a bundle. The standard Final Fantasy 35th Anniversary Edition physical editions will also be available day and date with a digital launch exclusively via the Square Enix store. Quantities for both will be limited. So I was able to pick up the Switch version for $74.99 plus the $24 shipping as well. So it was pricey, and that definitely caused quite a bit of storm online. But that's not even the most expensive version. They have another one, which is the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remaster Collection Final Fantasy 35th Anniversary Edition, which is $259.99, Square Enix Store exclusive, and it comes with a bunch of goodies. There's a ton of stuff that the original standard edition gets you, or the 35th Anniversary Limited Edition as well. I mean, it's got 2-disc vinyl sets, 8 stylized pixel art with that $250 plus version of the game, and also the standard version is what people are kind of like, what the heck? You barely get anything with it. You just get the physical copy. It's either PS4 or Nintendo Switch, and not many other goodies with it. But hey, listen, this is how I'm justifying spending that amount on it. It's the fact that these games on cartridge, at least with the Switch version of the game, I wouldn't spend $74 or so on a PlayStation version of the game because that just installs the game to your hard drive. It's not actually running off of it, right? So the Switch version is unique because it's running off of it as if it was a physical cartridge on the Super Nintendo. The way that Switch physical cartridges are built and the way that the system reads everything is different from Xbox and PlayStation that install it, read it off of it and install it, then use the disc as a check. So this is actually running off of it as if it was that old school cart back in the day. So to me, if you look at the prices for Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're expensive. They're not cheap. And the chance to get this all on one cartridge for $74.99 compared to the hundreds upon hundreds of dollars you would spend getting all of them individually, to me is worth it. That is my justification for getting it. I'm still kind of like, man, that's a bit pricey on it. But at the same time, I mean, they're going to go quick. They already went quick. And I knew that it would be something that people are going to want to get because you get all of that on a cartridge that is nostalgic for Final Fantasy fans, as this was an original Nintendo type of game on the Super Nintendo, on the regular NES, so I had to get it. But yeah, it's confirmed at this point, spring. They don't have an actual release date, solid release date, but it should be around March 31st, a little bit before that or even after that. So we'll see how it all works out. But you guys know what this is all about. You get those original games, they're touched up, they look better, but they still seem to have not fixed a few things that people had an issue with the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters on Steam and on iOS and all of that. So hopefully they get that fixed by the final version of the game all the way in spring 2023. So we'll see about that. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters and the official confirmation plus these Square Enix physical editions? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We got our first look at Moogles in Final Fantasy 16. It's good to see the Moogles, and they are more detailed and cuter than ever in Final Fantasy 16. So yeah, this is absolutely a Moogle. So Square Enix has shared a first look at Moogles in Final Fantasy 16 in commemoration of the Final Fantasy series 35th anniversary today in Japan. Now, Final Fantasy 16 is due up for the PlayStation 5 on June 22nd, 2023. Pre-orders are up. People are buying super expensive special editions. Final Fantasy 16 looks insane. Looks like a cross between typical Final Fantasy and hardcore DMC combat. So that's absolutely something very intriguing. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out, but based off of what I've seen so far, I think it's going to be a slam dunk super RPG out there. There's not really anything else that's probably looking like it's going to top Final Fantasy 16 on the Japanese front with a RPG anytime soon, with graphics and with everything combined. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be games that are bigger overall with content, but I haven't seen a game when it comes to coming out of Japan on the RPG front that looks as good as this. And I think that they're really taking the time to make sure that the combat is up to snuff as well. So I think it's going to be a smaller, tighter experience that really gives you great control over your characters and leveling, and make that experience like the best 30 to 40 hours you'll ever have, instead of making it like a million hours like Final Fantasy 15 and being incredibly unpolished at launch. I think this one's going to be so much better when it comes to the quality of the game from what we've seen here. But what are your thoughts when it comes to Moogles in Final Fantasy 16? They look great. Not much footage, but they still look really cool. Shout out to Final Fantasy series 35th anniversary. Awesome to see that Final Fantasy is still going strong after all of these years, since the 80s, huh? So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys. We've got a brand new game that I've never talked about here, and I'm just first learning about, but it looks pretty cool. That's a cool concept, at least, and that is called God of Rock. We do have an official release date as well, so rhythm and fighting game hybrid God of Rock will launch for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam on April 18th, 2023. Publisher Modus Games and developer Modus Studio Brazil announced this is a slight delay from its previously planned winter release window. Now that's going to be in spring here. So God of Rock will also be playable at Anime, Gaming, Cosplay, and Pop Culture Convention Holiday Matsuri in Orlando, Florida, which runs from December 16th to the 18th. Now here's an overview about this game. The mysterious God of Rock has revived the souls of the universe's greatest musicians to clash for his entertainment. Revitalized with new bodies and new powers, each musician will become a contestant in his game, battling it out with each other for musical supremacy on a global stage. This seems crazy. God of Rock blends rhythm-based gameplay with fighting game mechanics, intense 1 versus 1 matches. Choose from a dozen unique fighters, each with their own design, mechanics, and harmonic attacks. Soften up your opponent by executing normal moves and building meter by hitting notes to the beat of the song. Then spend your meter to unleash EX and special moves do damage and add complexity to their tracks. Finally, finish them off with a devastating super attack. As the battle progresses, the music track will continue to grow in complexity and difficulty only until one fighter is left standing. I've never thought about a music and a fighting game mixed together, but now that I think about it, it actually makes sense, I guess. Here are the key features. Battle to the beat, engage in over-the-top musical battles in this competitive rhythm-based fighter. Limitless skill ceiling. Tracks will continue to scale in difficulty until only one fighter remains. Over 40 original songs, that's a good bit of music, each with their own unique and challenging tracks to master. The universe is your stage. Control 12 wildly different characters, each with their own playstyle across 8 dynamic stages set across the universe. Here are the game modes. Story mode. Follow your favorite character through a branching story mode, battling against other musicians to become the last one standing. Training mode. Master the most challenging segments each song and practice executing special moves to the beat. Track editor. Put your own spin on your favorite tracks by adding and removing notes to your liking. Local and ranked online multiplayer. This is the big thing that they have to have if this game is going to take off. Go head to head against players at home or around the globe in casual and ranked multiplayer. So definitely looking really interesting and cool, and they have a lot of different concepts here. Obviously, they're not using the actual names, but you can definitely tell they're borrowing some likenesses of various different musicians. So that's going to be interesting as well. So I'm definitely going to check this game out. It actually looks pretty cool and something different when it comes down to a fighting and a music game kind of mixed in together. It's like Guitar Hero, but then also like Street Fighter or something like that. So awesome stuff all around. So what are your thoughts when it comes to everything that we discussed here, all the different topics? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click the notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.